I like people. I like people to be happy. I love for a team to have harmony. And as a young leader, I just felt like if I just didn't create the conflict, that everybody would be happy. And that's not at all how it went. And so I used to get physically ill anytime I had to deal with a strong personality person, a difficult person. This is like one of the cornerstones of the foundation of having a successful experience with any conflict whatsoever, is to have it soon. And you know what? With a lot of people, a quick verbal connection like that will solve a lot of problems before they get worse. Be curious. I don't know what's going on. All I know is what I observe. And I can simply come in and ask questions. What I have learned is that it is most important to be clear.
Other tips for success. First is make sure you really document and practice operational rigor, set a cadence, and then be very transparent about it. So like within Thousand Eyes, I have a documented 13-week cadence that everyone knows about. Every rep, every SE, all my customer success team, my channel team, like we know on day one of a quarter exactly what's going to happen in every week. And then everyone prepares for it and we just get in. We're doing QBOs or QBRs. We just knock those out quickly. We get back into the field. So that operational rigor and making sure it's documented in terms of how we're going to run our quarters, how we're going to forecast, the processes that we use in our selling methodology. That's important. Set that cadence, be transparent about it, and then follow it. Second is you have an ideal customer profile or an ICP, right? Always make sure you're refreshing that. But I think people is so critical. And so I always say ICP also is an ideal candidate profile. And that's another thing that I think also needs to be refreshed as you go about your journey, making sure who are the right people to have in at the right positions to grow your business globally.
One-on-ones are the first meetings to get pushed if something else, quote unquote, more important comes up.
Yep.
Newsflash, nothing else is more important than you and the relationship you have with your manager. It's M&M's, Richard. Money and managers. That's what keeps people in their jobs. They're making good money, they got a good manager, then all is well in the world. M&M's. So I had a leader one time, and that's where I learned it from this guy, that one-on-one was the most important meeting of his week. That meeting never got canceled, never got pushed, and me, as their direct report, I wasn't dumb enough to ever ask to have it rescheduled or moved or anything, because it literally was the most important thing.
Sure.
Then the other thing about the one-on-one, I've seen some go the wrong way, where a leader will say, hey, look, this is your time, right? This is your time. You tell me what you want to talk about. But that's counterproductive.
I'd love to just dig into messaging today, if that sounds good to you, and specifically what makes a good message or message consistency a differentiator for companies.
Yeah. And so, my highest belief, and anyone that talks to me, messaging is so critical to everything the organization does. And where I see people often fall challenged is trying to come up with the perfect message. How are we going to stand out? How are we going to talk about the value? How are we going to say we're unique? How are we going to make sure people really understand everything we do? And one of the things I often say is, you know what? It doesn't matter. While words matter, it doesn't matter having the perfect words. It matters being consistent. It means that what is on the website is the same words that sellers are using when they're engaging and SDRs are calling. It's the same words when an executive gets on the phone for an executive call. It's the same words in the RFP. It's the same words from customer success after you've acquired a customer and are retaining them. When an organization all uses the same words, that's when you get power of brand, power of message. And it's less about finding the perfect word. It's all about being consistent in your delivery of that. And yes, it will evolve over time. But I think sometimes people seek out for the perfect message, and I say it's really about consistency that drives success for a whole organization.
If a lot of your listeners are thinking about their career trajectory and their career path, I think the question you just asked is one of the critical dividing lines at the sales executive level. Now, whether that's a SVP level in a larger company, whether that's a CRO level, but when you get to the top of the sales stack, what you've done, it's not good enough anymore. So just like when you were an individual sales rep and you were demonstrating excellence and crushing your quota and people were showering love and praise on you and Eventually they came to you and they wanted you to lead a team. Well, you learned pretty quickly that the things you made you great as an individual aren't necessarily the things that are going to make you effective as a manager, and you've got to adapt.